So I had read that you're looking at 5 years before you were able to find an agent, and then another 5 years after that before you were able to, was that to publication or to securing a publishing deal?
No, that was to getting the next agent, and then there were 2 more years after that. So it was actually a total of 12 years from when I started seriously pursuing novel writing and the book deal for Storm Rise.
How many books did you write during that time, or did you have to write before you finally got an agent?
I keep losing count, but I think Storm Rise is like my 12th or 13th novel. So a lot of writing, a whole lot of writing. My first agent, whom I was with for 5 years, I think we went out with 4 projects and none of them sold. And then after 5 years with him, I signed with Danielle and was with her for almost 2 years. And our first project that went out also didn't sell. So I have 5 projects that didn't sell before Storm Rise sold. So it was a very long journey.
So what keeps you going during a journey like that when you don't know that one day it's all going to be okay? You're going to be on the Middle Grade Ninja podcast. My God, the highest height of the.
I've been waiting for 12 years.
What kept you going during that time?
A lot of things kept me going. First of all, not writing in a vacuum, being surrounded by other writers who were not only supporting me, but whom I could also support, which I think is so important, that give and take. And you know how wonderful the writing community is. And so that was really important. I could not have done this without God and my faith in God. There were times when I just wanted to quit, but I just felt like this is my gift and this is what I need to be doing. And I needed to stay the course. So that was a big part of my journey. My husband, who has always believed in me, and you know what that's like, to have a spouse who supports you and believes in you. I couldn't have made this journey without him either. And actually the blog, Miss Snark's First Victim, was a big factor too, because when you have an audience of people who are listening to you and receiving encouragement and advice from you and watching you more closely than you may even know, you can't just quit and walk away after you've told them 100 times, don't give up. So it kind of keeps you honest.
Well, you say that, but I can think of a couple of prominent bloggers over the years who've done it. I won't shame them.
Oh, okay.
But it's happened.
I'm sure it does. And, I just didn't want to be that person. I'm like, you can't be encouraging people and calling them forth, to rise up and keep going and don't let this crush you, because my goodness, it's a crushing journey, right? Can be. And so you have to be the example for the people you're kind of shepherding. So there were times when I really believe that's what kept me going. So that's no small thing. And so that's why I'm so grateful for the community that grew out of that blog, because I was writing the blog posts and doing all the things in the contest, but that writing community was giving back to me probably more than they ever knew.
Lots of questions about that. And if I want to talk more about the blog, so let me do the responsible thing and real quick mention Storm Rise by Jillian Boehme. Available now. Make sure you buy it. Am I holding up? Yes. Make sure you buy it. It's got a beautiful dragon on the cover. We'll talk in detail about it. But 2 things on the back of that before we talk more Storm Rise. I'm always fascinated with someone who's willing to share about their religious faith and how that informs their decisions. Were there signs along the way? How did you feel you were receiving communication from God that, yes, Jillian Boehme, continue the path you're on, and one day I will lead you to the Middle Grade Ninja podcast and the publication?
It's just, for me, has been a matter of prayer. And when you pray about something, and it's not all pretty, because, I don't hesitate to just pour out my angst to God, like, I've been doing this for so long, that. But when peace settles on your heart, when you make the decision to continue, that speaks very loudly to me. That's that peace of God saying, you can't see the future, but you need to trust and just, keep moving forward. And sure, let the angst out. I got you. Let the anger out. Cry. Yes, I've cried and I've declared that I'm going to quit. But God's big enough to handle my emotional outbursts, and it's all good. So in the end, it was just a deep sense of peace, and just a matter of, are you just going to trust me to work this out in my timing and not your timing? I learned that story many years ago when in our early married years, when I was having trouble conceiving. And I just wanted to be a mom and it wasn't happening. We were seeing fertility doctor. That's very emotional roller coaster. And all the tests were coming back normal, but nothing was happening. And it was the same thing back then. I was lamenting and grieving and, feeling, that longing to be a mom and feeling sad when my friends were getting pregnant. I should have felt happy. That's how you feel when your friends get book deals and you want to be happy for that. Same thing, right? There's a parallel here.
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have only ever felt good things for my friends.
Right? So there was all that. And the same thing happened back then. It was pretty much like, Jill, are you going to trust me to bring you this child in my perfect timing? And so what I had to do back then was I had to step away. And, one of the things you have to do is take your body temperature every morning to graph, when ovulation occurs. It's a lot. I had to walk away from that. I had to put the thermometer away. I canceled a doctor appointment, walked away, and had to come to a place of just faith. That same month, I got pregnant with my firstborn. Big life lesson in faith and trust and God's timing instead of mine. So now fast forward many years and I'm on this writing journey, and I'm writing and I'm, doing a lot of research in the publishing industry because I am an information person. I want to know things. I want to understand things. So I kept learning and learning and writing and okay, I'm on this trajectory. I'm going to get an agent. And it took me 5 years to get my...
When did you start seriously researching? Did you write your first book? And then, it's book 2, book 3? How early in the process did you begin researching?
It happened at the same time. I was writing that first very bad fantasy novel. And as I was doing that, I was online and I was researching. And one of the early agent blogs that was out at the time was Kristen Nelson's blog, which is a really kind of cool full circle thing. And she was one of the very few agents at the time who was accepting email queries. It was all still, I would say, 70 to 80% snail mail at the time I began my journey. But Kristen had done writers the favor of compiling a list of all the agents who were now accepting e-queries. I was so excited about that. I was always into the technology, always into the online stuff. And I thought, well, this makes total sense. It's so fast and easy and it doesn't cost anything. So I was doing the thing when it was all just making that transition from paper to e. So it feels like a long time ago now, because now, who accepts paper queries anymore? I don't think anybody does, probably.
Yeah, young authors don't know my pain of going to the store to buy the finest stock of paper you have, sir. I need the fanciest envelopes you have. These are going to agents, for God's sake.
Right.
They have to be top quality.
Wash your hands before you take these letters, because no smudges yet.
You just tell me if there's any post people between here and New York that smoke, because I don't want them smoking around my letters.
Right.
I want them to arrive smelling pristine.